Hi, it's me. I wanted to share with you everything that I've learned about the Minneapolis Public Schools budgeting. And I wanted to share with you that I serve on the 2020 Advisory Committee for the district. And a lot of the information that I'm going to be sharing with you today is through this committee. And this is a state mandated committee. And so we have to meet on a regular basis because the state requires us to do that. So I wanted to move on to who's the state, right? So who is the state? So the state that is charged with allocating funds and educating our children is Minnesota. And that is the 67 Senate members and the 134 representatives. And that's because there's 2 representatives in each district and 1 senator. And so these 201 people have allocated and have decided that $585 million is going to be allocated to the Minneapolis Public District for approximately 36,000 students and approximately 72% who are children of color. And so where does this money come from? Where does this $585 million come from? It comes from property taxes through referendums and levies. And we just had a referendum vote in the last election. It also comes from the state formulas, and I'll tell you what the state formula number is soon. But for now it's $6,067 per pupil. Then there's federal programs like Title I, which is free and reduced lunch, and several other titles. And then other places, which could be foundations or corporations like Cargill, or other like nonprofits. One of the important things is to know that the funds are categorical, and those categories are like compensatory, which is basically the state formula, free and reduced lunch. There's integration money, which at this point is $15.6 million, and that's pretty much to desegregate our schools, and a lot of times that comes through busing. Then there's special ed, self-explanatory. English learners, also self-explanatory. There's gifted and talented, although there really isn't a citywide gifted and talented program. There's also extended learning, state and local grants, and then federal grants. So that's just to give you an idea of how it's broken up. Then once the categories are set, then Minneapolis works out the budget, and this is how they do it. So first they do enrollment projections, then they look at revenue projections, and then they do expenditure projections. So enrollment projections are based on the birth rates in the city of Minneapolis and the historical aspect of enrollment in the district. So as you can see here, we are having more and more babies, it looks like. And then just another thing to note, right, is that of all of these babies, right, being born, that a vast majority are eligible for free and reduced lunch, are categorized as special education and English learners. So that's how they think how many kids are coming in, right? And then they do revenue projections, and these revenue projections come again from those categorical funds, and this is just to give you an idea of how it's been broken up in the past and in this past fiscal year. So note that this is the budget from this year, but the projection for this coming year is what I had mentioned before, right? That $585 million. Revenue projections is based on enrollment, and then know that the general education formula, the current rate is $6,067 per pupil. And just note, right, that that's what any child brings in as soon as they step foot into any public school. But if that child is classified as English learner, then they bring in a little bit more money. If they're classified as special needs, they bring in a little bit more money. And if they're classified as free and reduced lunch, they bring in a little more money. And if there are some cases where students are classified as all three, and they're bringing in a good chunk of money. And then there's also the compensatory aid, which we had identified as free and reduced lunch. And then again, there's just some more projections and some more categorical funds and how they're broken up. So just to give you an idea. Now we move into the expenditure projections. So in order for a structurally balanced budget to occur, the expenditure projections cannot be more than the revenue, right? And if it is, then we're functioning at a deficit or in the red, right? And I think it's important to know that Minneapolis hasn't had a structurally balanced budget in at least the past 3 fiscal years. And so we have been running our district at a deficit. And then lastly, we need to know the timeline, right? And so where are we according to timeline and the current budget? So as you can see, we're in February and allocations have already been released. In March, there's going to be another community engagement opportunity for us. And then by April and May, the board has a study session. They make final revisions. And then in June, there's a Board of Education vote on the new budget. And so as you can see, about 2 or 3 months where we can express where we believe that this money should go and stay, or even demand, right, that the money go where it's intended to go. So I hope that this was helpful, and until next time.